So Marvel just fired many of its writers and directors of their upcoming Daredevil Born Again series for Disney Plus. And alongside the news, we have a much clearer idea of the struggles that Marvel's television division has been facing since its inception behind the scenes. In this video, we're going to break down this illuminating article from Boris Kitt and The Hollywood Reporter and talk about what this could mean going forward. Before that, let's cover a brief summary of the show's history. Daredevil initially premiered in 2015 on Netflix to critical acclaim before being canceled after its third season in 2018. During the 2022 San Diego Comic-Con, Kevin Feige announced that Daredevil Born Again would bring back Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio as Daredevil and Kingpin from the Netflix series and have an 18-episode first season. It was also reported that at least 2 seasons of the show were being planned. In March 2023, Michael Cuesta was revealed to be directing the first episode of Daredevil Born Again. Jeffrey Nachmanoff and Clark Johnson, directors who worked on Luke Cage previously, were revealed as additional directors in May, with Johnson having been hired for 2 episodes. David Boyd was also set to direct at least 1 episode of the series, but no other names were released. In mid to June, WGA writer's strike put the show on hold. With less than half of the 18 episodes being filmed, it was at this time that Marvel executives, including Kevin Feige himself, sat down and reviewed the footage, coming to the conclusion that the show just isn't working. The article then states that in September, Marvel quietly let go of head writers Chris Ord and Matt Corman, and also released the directors for the remainder of the season as part of a significant creative reboot of the season. This means that Marvel is now actively looking for writers and directors to board the project. But this doesn't mean starting from scratch entirely. Marvel plans to keep some scenes and episodes, though other serialized elements will be injected in, with Corman and Ord becoming executive producers for both of the planned seasons of the series. So for seasons 1 and 2. But what exactly went wrong? According to The Hollywood Reporter, sources say that Corman and Ord crafted a legal procedural that did not resemble the Netflix version, known for its action and violence. Cox didn't even show up in costume until the 4th episode. Marvel, after greenlighting the concept, found itself needing to rethink the original intention of the show. Other rumors suggest that there were some creative decisions, such as Foggy and Karen being killed in the pilot, that Marvel also just soured on after watching. For myself, I personally don't think Cox not suiting up is inherently a bad thing. Waiting 4 episodes for him to do that in an 18-episode season doesn't sound that bad. And I just look at Daredevil Seasons 1 and Daredevil Season 3, for example, of how you could get away with that. But I can also see how Daredevil show devoid of action could be an issue if rumors are to be believed. I guess we'll never truly know what the creative vision was. But it is worth noting that it was strong enough to Marvel to greenlight and let 4 episodes be filmed. But this brings us to the overall creative issues of Marvel's television division. Hard to say. Marvel abandoned the traditional TV model. No pilots, just 150 million plus seasons of TV being developed on the fly. This isn't new for Marvel, as many of us know the story of Iron Man being made and the script being remade on set with a lot of improv. But for television, it's a lot more difficult. No showrunners were used, but instead they used film executives to run its series. And as Marvel does for its movies, it relied on post-production and reshoots to fix what wasn't working. Again, Iron Man, for example. Those who work with Marvel on the TV side have complained of a lack of central vision that has, according to some sources, begun to afflict the studio shows with creative differences and tension. TV is a writer-driven medium, says one insider familiar with the Marvel process. Marvel is a Marvel-driven medium. The article then goes on to list some of Marvel's creative issues. From Moon Knight, the creator and writer of the show, Jeremy Slater, quit and director Mohamed Diab took the reins. Jessica Gao developed and wrote She-Hulk Attorney at Law, but was sidelined once director Kat Koro, sorry if I'm saying any of these names wrong, by the way, came on board. Production was challenging. With COVID hitting cast and crew, and Gao was brought back to oversee post-production, a typical showrunner duty that was rare for Marvel's head writer to get such oversight of. This comes only days after Moon Knight director Mohamed Diab said this in an interview with Arabic Marvel. Loki is the only series they said will be in 2 parts from the first day. Marvel's way is not the usual way, where if the project succeeds, I say let's renew it for a 2nd season. It's their plan. Successful or not, they have a plan. Marvel had determined the number of episodes from the first day. Marvel's series projects are all 6 episodes except for special projects like WandaVision. The usual format is 6 episodes. The Hollywood Reporter expands on some of this, saying even though the company does not have a writer-first approach to TV, directors could feel the strain as well. The whole fix it and post attitude makes it feel like a director doesn't matter sometimes, says one person familiar with the process. The pandemic also caused tension within the Marvel division. WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier have been cited as projects affected by this creatively. But the structure of Marvel's TV division also saw changes as production only ramped up. Marvel stepped outside its usual staffing approach and brought in outside execs after years of internally promoting creatives who had been sufficiently trained in the Marvel method. We are no longer getting people familiar with Marvel moving in. They were just getting new executives to come in and to do things from a business process, not a creative process. Kyle Bradstreet, a writer and executive producer on the Emmy-winning Mr. Robot, had been working on the script for Secret Invasion for about a year when he was fired, after Marvel decided on a different direction. Brian Tucker, writer of the crime thriller Broken City, Thomas Bezucha, who helmed the thriller Let 'Em Go, and Ali Salim, who worked on Hulu's 9/11 drama The Looming Tower, were on board as directors and to help crack the story. Seems pretty normal. Then, it gets a lot more complicated. By summer of 2022, Secret Invasion's creative process was debilitated as factions became entrenched and the leaders vied for supremacy during the show's pre-production in London. One insider is quoted as saying, "It was weeks of people not getting along, and it erupted." Marvel declined to directly comment on the matter, but it is known that they sent Jonathan Schwartz, a senior executive and member of Marvel's creative steering committee known as the Parliament, to get Secret Invasion back on track when it was falling behind schedule and on the verge of losing some actors due to other commitments. By early September, a good portion of the Invasion team had been replaced, with new line producers, unit production managers, and assistant directors all brought in. And Bezucha, who was supposed to direct 3 episodes, left the show entirely because of new scheduling conflicts. The Marvel executives overseeing the show, Chris Gary, was reassigned and, according to some sources, is expected to now leave Marvel when his contract is up at the end of the year. So that's a lot of drama, at least more than in the show itself by many accounts. Secret Invasion was poorly received by fans and critics, so Marvel is hoping to course correct the entire TV division. And now it plans to hire showrunners. Gow's post-production work on She-Hulk helped Marvel see that it would be helpful for its shows to have a creative through line from start to finish. It's a term we've not only grown comfortable with, but also learned to embrace, says Winterbaum of showrunners, and Marvel TV's intention to hire them. The studio also plans on having full-time TV execs, rather than having creatives straddle both television and film. We need executives that are dedicated to this medium, that are going to focus on streaming, focus on television, says Winterbaum, because they are 2 different forms. Though this portion does sound promising, it is worth noting that this comes only after the WGA strike and new agreements were made regarding the showrunners and writers' rooms. It's tough to say what changes would have been made, if any, had that not gone down the way it did. But it still means good news overall. Showrunners will write pilots and show Bibles now at Marvel. The days of Marvel shooting an entire series and looking at what's working and what's not are reportedly done. It's tough to say when we'll really start to see these changes take place. Daredevil Born Again was expected for a late 2024 release, then January 2025, and that was before even the strike had started. The long delay and now rehaul of the show could set it back significantly. It is also unclear how other projects in various stages of pre to post-production, such as Echo and Wonder Man, will be affected, if they are at all. It's never great to see a whole team of people fired, and it is a shame that their vision for Born Again will never be shared. But I am optimistic that this will lead to substantial change and improvement for the MCU, and for the creative freedoms of their artists as well. Personally, I hope the procedural aspects of Daredevil Born Again remain intact and are only enhanced instead of replaced. But overall, just let me know what you think of the news below. Let me know where you rank in excitement for Daredevil Born Again, especially after this news, and have a good one.